What's up, Taiwan? I'm Sandy Chu with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. The US could sell advanced missile systems and radars to Taiwan at a cost of $2 billion. The State Department approved the sale of 3 surface-to-air missile systems, also known as NASAMS. Each of those can carry up to 6 missiles. The deal also includes radars, over 100 missiles, and support equipment. The sale still needs congressional approval. Taiwan has welcomed the announcement of the sale.
那么这一次美方供售的先进地对空飞弹系统，具备一个自动化侦搜跟火力分配直管以及情资整合的能力。那么也经过乌俄战争的一个实战验证，有助于提升国军整体的防空作战效能。
The equipment will come from U.S. Air Force stockpiles. Taiwan's Army Commander General Zhong Shuming is heading to Hawaii for a Taiwan-U.S. military dialogue. It's part of an annual program, with Zhong expected to discuss China's air incursions around Taiwan and Beijing's growing coercive activity. In the past, the program has included joint training maneuvers and exchanges between military experts from the two sides. It's harder than ever to buy a home in Taiwan, with government figures showing you'd have to save every cent for at least a decade. According to the Interior Ministry, home buyers would have to go for an average of over 10 years without eating or drinking to afford a house, a record high. In Taipei, it is nearly 60% longer, needing 16 years of saving to own a home. It's not much better at 14 years in New Taipei City and nearly 13 in Taichung. Taiwan salaries have not kept up with skyrocketing housing prices across the country, despite government efforts to cool the real estate market. Leading galleries are in Taipei to showcase their collections at a major contemporary art exhibition. Every year, the event draws collectors and art enthusiasts from across Taiwan and the world. Wesley Lewis was there.
Showcasing what contemporary art has to offer, the annual Art Taipei Expo has returned to Taiwan's capital. Now in its 31st year, it's not only the country's leading art exhibition, it's one of the oldest and most influential in the Asia-Pacific region. Over 120 galleries from Taiwan and across the world are here. One of the themes at this year's expo is sustainable development. And this Taipei-based gallery has curated a selection that highlights the adverse effects of human activity on our planet.
他想要让人类去在意更多我们没有在意到环境的问题，比如说这个是测试核弹的部分，对，所以平常我们不会 care 到这个部分。那他透过这个作品，想要让我们意识到我们没有平常意识不到的问题所在，这样子，
This commercial event gives both emerging and well-established galleries a platform to promote their pieces. The event also attracts the city's art enthusiasts.
我觉得艺术博览会是很重要，就是艺术家很重要的一个发表的舞台，这样子。
我很喜欢，就是这里可以看到每个艺术家用不同的媒材去把他的心血放在他的作品里面。
Sculptures are amazing, interesting works. Yeah, lots of imagination and artistic.
This year's showcase is diverse, with some galleries displaying pieces inspired by traditional Chinese calligraphy, and others taking a more whimsical avant-garde approach. As galleries here highlight the ever-changing and expansive nature of contemporary art, the organizers of this event continue to work towards positioning Taipei as a cultural hub in the global art market. Kama Xu and Wesley Lewis in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Celebrations and festivities have kicked off in central Taipei for the country's annual Pride March. Harel Hughes reports from the parade.
Over 100,000 people have taken to the streets of Taipei for the annual Taiwan Pride March. It's the biggest Pride event in Asia and one that has been held since 2003. This year's theme is Embrace Inclusion and has brought people from all over Taiwan and the world, including one of Taiwan's first LGBTQ advocates.
从人数上就知道啊，从第一届才3000人，3000人，现在已经是18、20万了。这不输欧美那些大都会，大家都是会敢勇于表达自己，做自己。
Joining in today's festivities was RuPaul's Drag Race winner and Taiwan's most famous drag queen, Nymphia Wind, and Vice President Bi-Khim Hsiao, who addressed the crowd before joining the parade.
支持性平的力量越来越大，那台湾在大家共同努力之下，也有非常耀眼的成就与进步。如今，台湾天空上的彩虹已经成为全世界最耀眼、代表进步价值的一道光芒。我们以此为骄傲，大家会继续努力，让我们的社会更进步。 我们多元的价值能够更共融，让大家可以一起努力，台湾会更美好。I'm so proud of you and so proud of Taiwan.
This is the second year Taiwan's vice president has attended Pride, with then VP Lai Ching-te appearing in 2023. As the first country in Asia to legalize same-sex marriage, Taiwan has become a beacon for LGBTQ rights in Asia. But as advocates say, there is still a long road to full equality.
There's one thing about the participation of political participation from LGBTI community. Actually, the person are still very few, and participating rates are still very low. Like out of 11,000 of public seats, only 4 of them are out LGBTI, which is very underrepresented.
Today's march marks the end of Taiwan's Pride Month. Today is celebration, but one that organizers hope will not end with today, but will continue for the year ahead. Yushun Chen, Jeffrey Chen, and Harrell Hughes in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Ahead of the big Pride Parade, there was the annual Trans March. I attended the event in the capital to see how transgender people are celebrating. Walking down the streets with pride and confidence. Taiwan's annual Trans March took place on Friday, the night before the country's Pride March, with thousands of supporters parading down the streets of Taipei.
其实现在应该要不分国籍，然后也不分性别，每个人存在都是有意义。想要出来支持一下这个活动，然后也提倡大家就是可以多走出来，让这个世界看到更多不一样的色彩。
这是一个跨性别的游戏，然后呢，就是一个非常多人非常觉得非常漂亮，然后我们就是很关心性别这个议题。我觉得如果以日常生活来看，越来越多人愿意就是穿。 无论是男装、女装，或者是无性别的穿在路上，就是愿意被别人看见。我觉得这个社会包容度越来越高。
The event began in 2019 and has attracted large crowds each year, with organizers saying 5,000 people attending the one in 2023. This year, they say 2,500 people took to the streets, with many returning participants.
我们希望让社会大众可以更看得见说，跨性别社群的一些真实情境。我们自己也除了办跨性别游行之外，我们自己也做蛮多的一些教育宣导啊，然后持续的跟包括 LGBT 社群以及包括跟社会大众去让大家可以更理解跨性别。那我们的确看到是有越来越多支持的声音在。
The parade isn't just about taking to the streets. It also features performances and trans speakers sharing their experiences and thoughts on stage.
And I think it's very important also to know that self-determination is the basic human right, where in which self-determination gives the right to individual to define who they are, and I think that's very important. But as of now, not a lot of people understand about self-determination.
Taiwan is home to around 100,000 people who consider themselves transgender, making up to less than 1% of the country's population. It hasn't been easy for this group, as they often face severe discrimination, stigma, and systemic inequality.
跨性别朋友其实在台湾在日常生活啊，在职场或者在医疗处境中，其实还是会遇到一些挑战，比如说就是被性别错称，或者是因为他的跨性别身份而遇到比如说求职或者是找工作的一些困难等等。
Despite these challenges, they continue to work to break the stigma surrounding transgender identities and advocate for their rights.
Trans March is one of the most vibrant events part of Pride Month. It may not be as big as the main event, its energy is exactly the same. And the sense of community here, you can feel it all around me. And this is what makes Taiwan one of the most queer-friendly places in Asia. Howard Zhang, Jeffrey Chen, and Sadie Chi in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Trans people in Taiwan who want to change their gender on official identification documents must undergo mandatory surgery to remove all reproductive organs. A handful of transgender people have exceptions made for them, but only after lengthy legal battles. Irene Lin reports on difficulties facing so many of those seeking gender recognition in Taiwan.
28-year-old Devin is facing one of the toughest decisions in his life. He's one among an estimated 100,000 transgender people in Taiwan, and one of many who still possess IDs that show their sex assigned at birth.
我觉得现在，即使我现在可以很自然，或是说我现在很自在什么的，但是其实某种程度心里还是会有一点不安的感觉，因为当我真的要出示身份证件的时候，这件事情我觉得它就是一个很大的破绽。
Taiwan requires transgender men to surgically remove their female reproductive organs to change their ID gender. In the past 4 years of hormonal therapy, Devin had never considered the mandatory surgery, until years of microaggressions in his personal and work life started to take a toll.
我其实希望被当男生，然后我不希望一直去提我是跨性别，或是我是因为有一些自以为贴心的人就会说，就是例如说我们要去搬东西，帮忙搬东西的时候，他就会说没关系啊，我来搬就好了。我知道你可能没有那么，就毕竟你还是女生的身体嘛。
He says if he keeps avoiding surgery and getting his ID changed, these things will haunt him for as long as he can take it. But the costs of surgery are a bitter pill to swallow.
比起我需要付出的成本来说，我没有那么想要去做这件事情，对吧？我要花钱，然后我工作需要中断，因为我要手术，我要休养。
Devin is not alone in his struggle. Gender reaffirming surgeries are excluded from Taiwan's national health insurance coverage. The mandatory removal surgery alone may be well over $6,000, and it's only the first step towards being freed from a body they don't totally identify with.
必须要把子宫、卵巢、输卵管都拿掉，这是基本。那有些人他也不喜欢阴道，所以阴道也同时会一起做。其实他们来开这个刀，这些钱都是一点一滴的存下来，除非说你家里经济很好，爸妈都可以负担，不然要靠自己是非常的辛苦了。
After the removal, some will proceed onto penis construction, which could raise the total cost to over $30,000. It's optional for those who just want to get a new ID, including Devin himself. But for some, the high-stakes procedure is still last resort to live the life they want.
第一个就是希望达成他可以站着上厕所，站着小便这件事。那其实这也是一种男性的一种在就是社会上的行为的象征。我们也希望可以达到，就是可以让他做到有性交的能力。
My gender is my choice.
Since 2019, there have been legal efforts to challenge the surgery requirement. Devin says he will love that for himself and those who also cannot afford the procedures. But the community has some concerns.
需要手术的人，他们可能会担心，如果免术换证出来之后，会不会就没有医生要动手术？或者是家人可能也会反对。你不用手术，你就可以去换证了，你现在干嘛要动这个手术？那个门槛会变高。
Transgender people have diverse ways of expressing their gender. Some change their physical appearance, such as by growing facial hair. Others through body modification, and still others through legal pursuits. None are easy. But ensuring the right to decide one's gender and bodily autonomy is ultimately their shared goal. John Su and Irene Lin for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we've got more shots for you from the Taiwan Pride March in Taipei. I'm Sani Chi. Take care and see you next time.